Hello, good evening and welcome to the program. Thank you most kindly for joining us on yet another edition of Sunday Politics live on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. It's good to see you again. Now, this past week, the public space in Nigeria had been inundated with interesting, dramatic and headline-grabbing developments from the scenes at the Abuja residence of former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to the 98th National Executive Committee meeting of the People's Democratic Party, where the tug of war continues in the aftermath of the 2023 elections. To Kano State, where the national chairman of the APC continues to face daunting challenges as his alleged corruption case saw him receive 2 suspensions from ward chapters of the party in Kano State. On the state of affairs, the Northern Elders Forum has come under heavy criticism from one of the ministers in the country, the Minister of Defense, leading to questions about the popularity of the president, especially in the northern part of the country. So what do these events signpost for Nigeria and indeed Nigerians? Joining me to interrogate the issues tonight, Jide Ojo is a public affairs commentator and Nwaolisa Gerald is a member of the APC. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Right, where do we start from? Obviously, this past week has been rather interesting. So many dramatic events, so many developments to start off with. Let's talk about what looks like the beginning of a very long conversation about the fight, especially on corruption. And I would like to start with you, Mr. Jide Ojo, on the whole saga around EFCC and the former governor of Kogi State. What do you make of what we saw this past week?
Thank you, Ahmed. Well, it leaves a sore taste in the mouth that the former White Lion, he calls himself White Lion, is on the run from the anti-corruption agency. But that's besides the point. I think there is also a merit in the point made by his supporters that there is an injunction by
State High Court
in Lokoja that he should not be arrested or
be
investigated until the determination of the case that has been instituted by him. Now, we learned that there is an appeal on that, which is set for ruling tomorrow, that there will be a ruling on the 22nd of April. And I presume that if there is a sequence of events, that he got an injunction to prevent his arrest, investigation, molestation, and all of that, EFCC ought to obey that, in as long as they have not been able to vacate that order, and there is no superior judgment or superior injunction, they should have waited, monitored him, trail him if they have to do that, keep him on watch list, pending the time that they will get what the Court of Appeal decision. What they did was just grandstanding. You went and laid siege on a man's house for 8 hours. I've heard people saying it's a drama, a season's film, and it looks so to my own mind. Even though why I believe so was, remember, Yahaya Bello ceased to be governor of Kogi State on January 27 or thereabout. The moment Usman Ododo was sworn in, if the EFCC was serious, they should have picked him and get him to. That's what they did to Willie Obiano in Anambra. From the time he handed over to Soludo, he was arrested and he got a bail. And you can see that even just this last
Isn't this quite unprecedented in such a way that Yahaya Bello is not making it easy to make his case believable, because it doesn't look like he's willing to play his part, which is to appear before the court and answer all the questions around the connections between him and the cases, charges of money laundering as well as mismanagement. I mean, is he behaving like someone who is innocent of some of those allegations?
Well, it doesn't. I'm not in a position to say whether he's innocent or
on
guilty.
face value, that is.
On face value, yes, it's a bad optics for him. Somebody that we know is very brash, he has this bravado attitude. That's why he calls himself White Lion, and that is unshaken by anything. In fact, some people, there are those who are linking his ordeal and travails to the fact that he contested against President Tinubu during the party primary. And he was one of those who are recalcitrant, refused to step down for the president, and said some unprintable things about that. Maybe that could have been part of the, but I felt due process need to be followed. Whether it was a bad optics, I've seen a lot of co-guides lambasting, lampooning. You saw the popular video by Dino Melai, lampooning. But due process is what I call for. If EFCC can prove, because I've also read that EFCC seems to get an injunction on last Thursday that they can a warrant of arrest. Right. That was last Thursday. But this incident happened like on Tuesday or Wednesday. So which means you should have gotten the warrant of arrest and then wait for the vacation of that Kogi High Court decision before coming after him. Put him on a wanted list, put him on a watch list, but don't, because, okay, he was under siege for 8 hours. At the end of the day, Usman Ododo, the incumbent governor, came, picked him up, took him back to Kogi. Some are saying he's hiding in Ajaokuta. I've seen footage of him doing exercise in army camouflage. But whatever it is bad optics for him. Right. But due process should be followed by EFCC. And
bringing Mr. Gerald in as a member of the APC, this must be embarrassing, isn't it, to have to watch this on full, because Yahaya Bello is one of those rising stars within the ranks of the APC, and now this is happening as the APC continues to champion its cause, especially with regards to fight against corruption. What do you make of it as part of the new brigade within the ranks of the APC, seeing things like this happen?
Thank you very much. As far as I am concerned, what is happening is beyond embarrassing. I don't know the word to use. As an APC youth stakeholder, watching all this happen, simply show us why in the last 5 years, aside from Bobrisky, you can count how many people EFCC have defeated in court. The way they are going about this, it's quite embarrassing, not following the rule of law. Now you claim they led siege for how many hours in the house of Yahaya Bello, and they claim that the governor came and whisked him away. Now we are hearing on social media and everywhere that Yahaya Bello wasn't even in Abuja when they came to the house. Okay, can EFCC prove that Yahaya Bello was in that house? Because we haven't even seen any picture or video that shows that Yahaya Bello was in that house and entered the car of Ododo to leave. They are just saying it. You cordoned off somebody that have court order for you not to arrest him. You appealed it, and it's tomorrow, just tomorrow, for the case to be handled, and you went and cordoned off his house for how many hours you want to arrest him. Now we are hearing on news they will use army, they will do this, they have removed his head. There's nothing we've not seen on social media. The thing looks like movie, and this is very bad. EFCC, they are disappointing Nigerians.
I mean, EFCC is taking the lead on this, but the Nigerian police, the immigration service, everybody seems to be on board with the manhunt to get Yahaya Bello, which suggests that, you've heard from the president, one of the president's spokesperson, who said Yahaya Bello should just come clean, submit himself, and answer the questions. So many other former governors have been interrogated, have been investigated without this kind of fuzz. Do you think that right now the onus is on Yahaya Bello to help, de-escalate the situation by submitting himself?
Yahaya Bello is not running away from EFCC. He has a court order for EFCC not to arrest him. There is nobody that he cannot go and submit it. He has a valid court order. People, the news on social media is making everybody make noise and talk. People are just following the bandwagon.
There is also another court order from a superior court that allows EFCC to arrest him.
No, that is a warrant of arrest. It's more like a search warrant.
Yeah,
it's not a court
from
order.
a federal high court.
It's like a search warrant.
Yeah,
but
from a federal high court. He got his restraining order from a state high court.
Now, this is the problem.
EFCC got the warrant of arrest order from a federal high court. Now,
here is the problem. Why can't EFCC wait till tomorrow? Then follow the due process without all this noise and all this drama that we are seeing.
So, do you think as a politician you would want the president to wade in? I mean, Mr. Jide Ojo, rightly pointed out the political differences as well as the nuances that might be a part of the question, especially in the build-up to the 2023 election, that it was very clear that Yahaya Bello was not on the Tinubu side before the primaries. Even after the primaries, his body language was rather ambiguous to a certain point. Do you think that may be playing into what we're seeing right now?
I think this is the right time for the president to call EFCC to order, because it's now looking like people are beginning to say a lot of things. Some are saying maybe some cabals are fighting Yahaya Bello. This is the right time for the president to call EFCC to order, because when you look at it, before the primaries, yes, Yahaya Bello contested when governor said he should step down, he refused and contested. But I can categorically and authoritatively tell you that Yahaya Bello performed more than all those people that asked him to step down. He performed for Tinubu more than all those people that were doing eye service. Because Yahaya Bello, immediately he lost, all his supporters, he told everybody to support this man. Then even his campaign house, he donated it for Tinubu's campaign. That not enough, he campaigned for Tinubu in almost every state and delivered Kogi State to APC. So what else? All those people that started following Tinubu from day one, let them bring out the result from their states. Is he by following him from day one? It's about who delivered at the end.
Okay. And still staying with APC-related matters, Mr. Jide Ojo, Ganduje has always been in the news, not for the right reasons, I might add, since those, dollar videos, made rounds on social media. And this particular issue has become a very dark cloud hanging over his head for the most part. Just days ago, you heard of his suspension and, the whole drama within the courts, the National Working Committee throwing its weight behind him, the party at the state level also throwing its weight behind him. And just this afternoon also, we are aware that there is another suspension that has also been issued as far as his membership of the APC is concerned. For some people who have seen this game plan before, this is part of the textbook approach when a national chairman is about to be ousted. Whether it's on the platform of the PDP or on the APC, we've seen this before. It starts usually from the home front, and then it snowballs into something bigger and then consumes his leadership. What do you make of what's happening to Ganduje, especially with regards to all these suspensions on the back of those allegations of corruption?
Thank you, Abdullahi. In my own opinion, and I would say the fault is the presidency's own. When Senator Abdullahi resigned as national chairman of APC,
Abdullahi
Adamu. When he resigned alongside with Senator Iyola Mishuri, you need someone with impeccable character to replace those two. We had someone like Taha, Senator Tankwa Makura, who was also interested before they even brought Adamu Abdullahi in the first place. If you recall, Adamu Abdullahi never wanted to be national chairman of APC. He didn't campaign, but last minute some orcs or some cabal in APC said, "Oh, don't allow Taha, just give it to," because Abdullahi Adamu was chairman of Reconciliation Committee of APC. He was going about trying to reconcile. They now said, since you have been the one reconciling these people, you be the chairman. Now, after leading them to victory in the 2023 election with Iyola Mishuri, they got all manner of allegations against the abuse of office, embezzlement and all of that. He submitted campaign finance expenditure without due process. He appointed auditor without. Whatever it is, they got him. The man resigned. Now, I was shocked when they went for, Dr. Umar Ganduje as a successor. Because we know, I know, and every student of politics should know that this issue of bribery allegation was going to haunt him. More so when he could not produce a successor under APC. And you saw that Kano was a sore point for APC, that they were ready to do everything to win in court. You remember how this whole court process also played out, where you have two judgments of court of appeal. Right. You understand? One saying you are sacked, Abba Yusuf is sacked. Another is saying it's not. The CTC, for the first time in my life, I am seeing two courts.
One judgment, two different
outcomes. It shows the level of desperation to win Kano by hook or crook. Now, they lost eventually. Supreme Court upheld the victory of Abba Yusuf. And we know that there is no love lost between Rabi Musa Kwakwanso and Umar Ganduje. So we know that they were going to resurrect this issue of bribery allegation. And Kano has an anti-corruption agency. Now the case has even gone beyond the Gandola, the dollar that he was alleged to have gotten. I watched the chairman of anti-corruption agency in Kano on a sister TV station, talking about over 50 billion that was mismanaged of local government funds in Kano. And you could see that even his wife and his son has been roped into this whole bribery stuff. So the optics is just not good for APC.
Right.
The optics wasn't good. So the point is, now you have three different world executives. How that came to be, I don't know. But the latest one is towing the line of the previous one to say he remains suspended and they are the authentic world executive, but they have also suspended it. So it's just not looking good for APC.
And Gerald, clearly, we talked about the Yahaya Bello situation, how embarrassing it looks for the APC, but this one, even more so, clearly chaotic. Not just from Kano, obviously, but this suggests that the party is not entirely in control of all of the variables that is shaping the narrative right now.
I always tell people that no matter how you hit an umbrella on the ground, it can never turn to a walking stick. We in the APC, if I may say, our leaders sometimes they dig hole, in pathway that they know that that's the road that we must go and come back from. Like they are the ones that are creating
You're
this
saying
problem.
This is self-inflicted?
Now, yes, because Abdullahi resigned, and according to our constitution, not central, are the people to produce the national chairman. Why take it to Northwest? That is the beginning of all this problem.
Isn't it because Kano is very strategic to your political calculations?
Well, that's not in our constitution. We are talking about obeying our constitution here. This is not a position you make appointment. This I don't know how to explain. This should remain in the North Central for peace to reign. But taking it to Northwest is creating more problems because we don't even know where all these problems are coming from right now. I can't start speaking about his corruption case because he's innocent until proven guilty. But what I'm saying is, our party should try and do the right thing.
What about the president? What about the president? Abdullahi Ganduje, speaking to supporters as well as newsmen, said he has the president's backing. He obviously, from the look of things, has the support of the national party, the national headquarters of the party. But give me a sense of, why this is allowed to continue unabated without a decisive action. I mean, whether it's the ward executives, whether they're part of a faction, they're all supposed to be under the APC, but it doesn't look like the APC is, in charge of What is going on right now?
I think they are in charge and they are taking their time. And at the right time, they will take the drastic measure. You know, I think the president is taking it, and I think very soon there will be a NEC meeting. I just feel so, because it's getting out of hand and we cannot continue to, you know, wake up to all this kind of news. Instead of focusing on how to empower, you know, the poor and the youths in the society, instead of thinking of how to make the economy better, we are talking about is quite embarrassing. But I believe that even if they want to make amends now, that they should take that thing back to North Central where it should be for peace to reign. Because as long as it remains in that Southwest, it's causing a lot of problems.
Right. Okay, let's talk about another political party that is in the news this past week regarding its future in Nigeria, and that is the People's Democratic Party, PDP. This week, it held its 98th National Executive Committee meeting here in Abuja, where it deliberated on a variety of issues, but most notably is the fallout from the 2023 general elections and the leadership of the party, where we saw Damagun maintain his acting capacity. But also there in the picture, you might have noticed the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, attending that particular NEC meeting. Mr. Jide Ojo, the PDP is unraveling, to say the least.
Interesting times we are. Almost all the political parties in Nigeria are facing one leadership squabble or the other. You know, you can also go to Labour Party and see how Julius Abure is faring.
Exactly.
And, you know, other parties. But I think what happened, was it on Thursday, at the NEC meeting was an anticlimax. Everybody thought it was going to be explosive. Damagun will be a gunner. Suswan was already waiting in the wings to succeed Iyorchia, more so that Iyorchia has gone to court to withdraw his case, paving the way for Gabriel Suswan to emerge. But I think they were very smart and very careful not to hand over the party to an Atiku loyalist. And that is what played out in favor of Damagun. They felt Damagun is pro-Wike. Even though Damagun became a chairman, it was a fait accompli. You know how Iyorchia was pushed out by the Wike faction, who got his word to suspend him. He went to court. The court confirmed his suspension. Eventually had to leave ignominiously. But they were wary. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has not hidden his interest for 2027. And if he's allowed to get his way with the new executive or national chairman, it may well be somebody who will hand over the ticket to him for the third consecutive time. And Atiku Abubakar factor is a very divisive factor in PDP. Send it the way it is. Why am I saying this? If PDP will not be in this challenge, if they have followed their constitution, just like my brother said about their own APC constitution, that they departed from it, since Adamu Abdullahi left, someone from North Central should have taken over. The same thing, when Iyorchia left, they should have found a quick replacement from North Central. But they allow it to linger. Damagun has been there for one year, 3 months or thereabout. And now he has less than 1 year to the end of his tenure. If you bring somebody else now, it might be counterproductive because the person can dig deep. Don't forget the case of SARS. Senator Alimodu Sheriff, when they brought him after 2015, and the man refused to go when they wanted him to go, after collecting money from him to run the party. And eventually, it has to take Supreme Court decision to get him eventually out. So what played out, I think we should not focus on the leadership per se. Damagun now to remain in acting capacity, but they also set up different committees to reconciliation
committee,
disciplinary committee, then the funny thing is that the person who is chairing the reconciliation is Saraki. Saraki and Wike are 5 and 6.
So what do you say about the perceived lack of sincerity on the part of the PDP to actually do the needful? Because it doesn't look like the whole disciplinary committee thing is going to work, because the elephant in the conversation is Nyesom Wike, and it doesn't look like anything is going to happen to him for the role he played in 2023 and for the role he's currently playing for the Tinubu administration. I mean, it goes directly against the provisions of the constitution of the PDP. I mean, anti-party activities, grounds for suspension, grounds for expulsion from the party, expulsion from the party.
But don't forget, Wike was smart enough to get a court injunction. He got the court, it was a court injunction that it should not be sacked, it was suspended, removed. So the guy is like a bone in their throat. The court said, you cannot sack this man. But this man is a table shaker within the party. And now, I didn't even know how they resolved the issue of the ESCO of PDP in Rivers, because that was also one issue that they were going to take on. Because whether we like it or not, Rivers is divided into 2 factions now. The Fubara camp and then the Wike camp. And Wike is still holding sway with the way things are. But I think the conversation, being no member of the party, no member of any party, I think what can heal PDP is first, in a bid to reconcile, let them extract a commitment from Alhaji Atiku Abubakar that he will not run in 2027. If they are able to extract that commitment and say, look, we want you to play the role of a statesman. I tell you, you know what that would do? It will help to reconcile. People like Peter Obi might find their way back. Because as it is, Peter Obi is like homeless. You heard what the Nigeria Labour Congress told him. They said you can leave Labour Party.
He's not leaving yet.
He's not leaving yet, but he, in his own calculation, is also looking well before he leaves. But in as much as Atiku will run in 2027, Peter Obi will not find it convenient to be back in PDP. And so many other factors are related to Atiku factor. So you cannot even single out Wike, because Wike led 5 governors. And some of these 5 governors are still very powerful. Like Makinde in Oyo State is a subsisting governor. So yes, Ikpeazu has left, Otom has left, all
of them have left except
Makinde. So, but they still wield their own influence. But I like the gentleman they said should discipline. Whether he will now wield the big stick, I don't know. That's the former governor of Akwa Ibom, Emmanuel Udom. He looks like somebody who is mature.
For some people, the PDP is still glossing over the cracks. They're not, trying to, troubleshoot the party in the best way possible. They're still trying to avoid stepping on the toes that they need to step on to course correct. But, time shall tell. It does feel right now that we're in that type of atmosphere that you usually get just before an election. And one would think that we're not actually, 2 years away from conducting the previous election or even the campaigns. But, as an APC member, I guess the enemy of your enemy is your friend. In this case, Nyesom Wike, I guess you're happy to have him within your ranks because, he still has some pull within the PDP itself. But give me a sense of what you as an APC member make of his contribution to the current administration, and then to see him in that NEC meeting, possibly still fraternizing with people who want your party out of power.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful thing to see. When taking cognizance of the fact that Nyesom Wike as the FCT minister is working, when you move around in Abuja, you will see his work. He's doing a beautiful work, and on the other hand, he's trying to make sure that he suffocates PDP, that in the next election that they might even come third. He's not even second now. As long as he has a say in the PDP, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can achieve. There are reconciliatory committees.
You like what is happening?
Of course, we are enjoying what is happening. A powerful PDP is a problem to us, and as long as they continue to, fight, as long as they continue to...
As long as you continue to have a man on the inside.
As long as we have Wike there, there's nothing they can do. Okay. We are just enjoying what's going on.
Okay. Let's talk about something that has also got a lot of people talking. Just take a look at this story that came out this past week. The State Minister of Defense, Nwaolisa, the former governor of Zamfara State, talks about the people within the cabinet, within the government, not defending the president, and even going as far as to ask them to quit if they're not going to defend him. This on the back of comments from the Northern Elders Forum about how they didn't support the Tinubu project and how they think he should change in the north, or something along those particular lines. I mean, we've been here before. Any president that comes, especially over the past 10 years and counting, since the Goodluck years to the Buhari years, there's always that sense of regional dimension to anything that the administration is doing. First of all, your thoughts on this one? He described them in such a very not so diplomatic words. The way he described the Northern Elders Forum, the group itself, what it means in the grand scheme of things, calling them a paperweight and things like that. They've clearly responded in kind. But what do you make of this? It's less than a year since the Tinubu administration came on board, but we're seeing this, agitation from especially the north, where he got most of the votes.
For me, Nwaolisa is just playing to the gallery. He wants to remain relevant. He knew that Tinubu rehabilitated him. That's the truth. He lost an election. He lost his re-election. But for the appointment as Minister of State for Defense, it would just be, nobody will even be reckoning with him, as it were. And I'm not surprised. People like him are, talking loud and saying, but has the president done enough for the North? That's the question for me. The contribution of the North to the emergence of Tinubu presidency is enormous. And you could see the disenchantment among some of the powerful elite of the North, like even El Rufai, with the recent jibe is true that petrol subsidy is back, that the presidency is using 600 billion to
paying more than the Buhari administration.
So of course they've taken him on and said, bring evidence if you know that that's true, but that is a lie, and all of that. The issue is North needs a Marshall Plan to get itself back economically, infrastructurally, and unfortunately, the economy right now is not friendly, and there is a big elephant, the issue of wage, minimum wage, which I learned Labour is asking for 650,000 and 15,000. I don't know whether NLC or TUC really they are not in fantasy island, because I don't know if Kaduna State Governor here says he cannot pay salary 30,000 minimum wage. You want to burden him with 615? Well, in fact, as at now, we should have even been having the agreement of the 37-man committee being sent to the National Assembly to be worked on by the National Assembly to make it a law. Because right now, the new minimum wage law has fallen due. But they are still talking about 615,000. I don't know which, even federal government cannot afford to hold that. But what I'm trying to say is that Nwaolisa is entitled to his own opinion, but I think he also wants to hand a chair at the table in the event of a shake-up, which is imminent. Yeah. We have been told that Tinubu is planning to shake up the cabinet. Some may go. Even Rufai said all the deadwood in his administration should be shown the way. So, and
basically, you think he wants to stand out?
He wants to stand out as being a chief canvasser. so that at least the president will say, this is one of my loyalists, let him stay.
Right.
So it's about seeking relevance.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't see this whole issue of bullying people to support the president. You don't need to bully people. If it's done well, people will see. We know the state of the economy. It's not the making of Tinubu, but the state of the economy is very, very
and people have to be angry at someone.
Of course.
Or have to hold someone accountable.
Accountable for their plight.
And it's safe to say that we're all angry at your political party, which is in charge of running the country right now. But, let's talk about those comments. I mean, anytime you have a group that is representing any part or region of this country, I mean, it's important to actually pay attention to those concerns that they're raising. But do you, as an APC member, feel the president is doing enough to deliver the promises, the dividends of democracy, as we like to say, to all the regions? So much so that if comments like this come out, you feel they're not justified enough. I mean, it's 1 year, to be honest, the first year in office, but some are already saying that, it's like the president has his favorites in all of the regions where he wants to do some of the capital projects and developmental, execution of his agenda.
Let me start with that statement of defend Tinubu of the sack that he told his appointees. I am seeing it in a different way. I think the best defense you can give the president is to deliver. If you are made the Minister of Defense, you and your appointees, you deliver. There is no better defense than, if you are work minister, you deliver. If you are the FCT minister, you deliver, you and your aides. If you are the, any kind of appointment they give you, you and your appointees, you deliver. When all of you do a fantastic work, there won't be much, you won't be threatening your aides to come out and, defend, because everybody will be seeing, what is happening in the country, because it's audible to the deaf and visible to the blind that the president is taking drastic measures. And we are seeing how, the economy is, turning back, because a few months ago, like 3-4 months ago, all of us were even us in the APC, what's going on? Why is the dollar going? Everybody, we are human beings. But right now, can't you see? Things are going back, the CBN governor, everybody, the economic team, they are working morning, afternoon, and night to make sure that the naira grows from strength to strength. But what about us in the market? Why are people not bringing down the prices of goods and services? Dollar was almost 2,000, and you are selling something at 100 naira. Now dollar is almost 1,000. You are taking it to 200. So they are trying to let us know that the goods they have since 4 months, they are still selling it. But whenever you hear that dollar have increased, when you wake up, the prices of everything should stop. So this change has to begin from us. Well, majority of Nigerians, use every single opportunity to milk and dry even the poor. They don't care. As long as everybody will blame it on the president. Nobody cares. I was going through something this morning in Dubai, and I saw a news that if you say anything bad about Dubai, you'll be arrested. Like there was flooding a few days ago, destroying people's house, and they released a statement that if you post it on social media, you will be charged to court. This is a very serious country. But Nigeria is where, when you go out now and see a poll for everybody will post it, they start mocking at the president as if it's the president that, we really need as Nigerians to start loving this country. Even if you don't love the president, you love this country and start doing the right thing. The country will change.
Mr. Jide Ojo, a lot of Nigerians would hear that message and they say there's a lot of talking with the APC. There isn't a lot of doing when it comes to delivering the work that needs to be done. When you look at where we are right now with the rising cost of living, with the significant lower purchase power of most Nigerians right now, with our general inflation still going up, even though there are projections that a few quarters down the line it might eventually come down to 28%, give or take, from the World Bank and the IMF. Give me a sense of how best to truly assess what the Tinubu administration is doing, because for most Nigerians there's a lot of talking about the data, the figures and things like that, but just to his point, you go to the markets and you realize, listen, none of everything that they're saying, whether it's the Minister of Finance or the Economy or the CBN Governor, it doesn't translate into our everyday experience as Nigerians?
Well, things, it's like when you have malaria, things get bad before it gets better. I think we've turned the corner, and the indices and indicators are showing green rather than red that it was in February, January, up to March. The reason why I'm saying this is this. Some of the policies and programs and activities of the president is maturing. I just saw on the internet this afternoon that 2,700 CNG buses are going to be launched before May 29. That promise was made on July 31st, 2023, and that the president gave March. But March has come and gone, but we are now said, a newspaper now reported that 2,700 of the CNG buses are going to be launched before May 29. That is good news. Port Harcourt Refinery, we are hearing that they are already negotiating that PMS will be sold at 500 per liter.
If eventually it starts working. Because we understand the Senate is saying somewhere around November, December this year.
Well, what they said ab initio was April, that they will start selling. And what I read in the course of last week was that marketers are already angling that it should not go beyond 500. And we have also seen the concession made by Dangote to sell diesel at 1,000 naira per liter to its customers. So things will. Does it
bother you that they keep missing the deadlines, especially on these key issues?
When every government will miss deadline because it's an human venture, and you may, when we say ceteris paribus, all things being equal, has everything been ever equal, Abdullahi, Ahmed? I recall that I also read that Ministry of Trade and Investment has started disbursement of the 200 billion support to micro, small, and medium enterprises. All of this put together, if there is sincerity of purpose, should bring some succor to average Nigeria in the coming weeks. It may not take us to the factory setting of under Buhari or before May 29, but I think it will go a long way to minimize the suffering of an average Nigeria. But I like what my brother said about 48 ministers. Can you beat your chest and said, I've performed? 48 presidential lieutenants. They are president's lieutenants. They are his aides. If they all perform and they are not lining their pockets, they are not corruptly enriching themselves, and they use the Commonwealth to serve the people, and we shun corruption, definitely the reason why the president went for that high number of people was to expedite delivery of his 8-point agenda. So if every one of them live up to expectation, the president will not have much talking to do. The presidential aides will not have to conjure and write, deodorized press statement to make people believe. Because you will see that, okay, things are not where we ought to be, but we are not where we used to be. So if we are able to tame insecurity, we are able to improve economy, we are able to provide jobs, we are able to improve infrastructure, definitely, see, it's even better for people to hate you at the beginning of your administration. But it should not remain so when you are 3 years, 4 years into your government.
Right.
Because that time, you will not have the alibi and the excuse of, oh, I'm just new in this saddle. When they asked Professor Wole Soyinka whether he said he wants to give the administration up to 1 year. After 1 year, he will know what to say. But you cannot be saying that same thing 2-3 years. I
think the honeymoon was over even from day one when the president announced the removal of fuel subsidy, because a lot of Nigerians said, well, he completely lost all the goodwill that we intended to give him or show him. But in talking about accountability and also keeping these ministers or government appointees in check, we saw this just a couple of weeks ago. the announcement of this citizen, engagement app where the KPIs are there, Nigerians can engage, review the performance. Some of the baseline indicators are there to show where we were, where we're heading to, what the targets are, and all of these things. Give me a sense of how honest you think this administration is, as someone who, is a member of the APC. Because there are a lot of people who say that, the words of the administration and their actions do not match. We're talking about the deadline just moments ago. It has happened with the refinery over and over from last year to this year. There's no tentative date about when it is going to take off and what the expectations are at the moment. But also there's the students' loan situation. There's the situation with the wage awards, where we experience some hitches here and there, and a lot of other instances. Give me your take on what you, from within the party, are trying to do. Do not just make this a partisan thing, but now it's time to walk the talk. I mean, the campaigns are over. It's almost a year into a 4-year tenure, and for the most part, Nigerians are saying, let's feel the impact of this renewed hope agenda.
Yeah, you forgot to add, as of yesterday or a few days ago, people are receiving 50,000 naira conditional cash transfer, for grand millions of Nigerians are also, even as of today, people are telling me, showing me their, so these are ways to also curb the hunger in the land. So what I'm saying is, like everything you just mentioned now is the reason people like us, tell the government, tell the presidency that, yeah, you people are doing well here. You people are not doing well here. We are not just praise singers that will come when they are not doing well, will stand up and be shouting, no, I'm not that kind of person, But the only thing I can do is to give them maximum support, because we believe in President Ahmed Bola Tinubu from day one, right from when he was in Lagos, and his record speaks for itself. That's why we are giving him the time, and it's not late. It's not late, like he said. Let us give him some time, because we already see things.
You think time is on his side?
Of course, I think so. Of course, I think so. The green light will continue shining the way it's coming now. It will continue to go as long as we get the economy. And the only thing I think now is that it's like they have to enforce and clamp down on traders. I don't know how to force people to bring down because dollar is going down, and
you can do that if you're a communist country, but you can't do that in a free market economy like ours. I mean, there are rules for fair pricing.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
If price cannot be controlled, then we are
except if the government is going to subsidize, which clearly the Tinubu administration. Also, there's that conversation about what Erufai and the marketers are saying about the price. The landing cost, as we understand, according to some of the industry players, is somewhere around 900 naira per liter. But we all know that it costs less. So that suggests that someone is offsetting the other part of it, whether it's the NNPCL or the government. We don't know right now. But it is not true that subsidy is gone. It's there somewhere. We don't know where it is, but it is there somewhere. Do you think the administration is 100% transparent and honest with Nigerians about what is going on?
I can't say 100%, but I think they are honest. They are trying their best, And Nigerians are not even the kind of people you can be very honest to. They will devour you. So they are being very careful, and I know that they are doing their best to put Nigeria in the right map where they are supposed to be.
Your thoughts on that? That the government is not necessarily 100% honest because it's trying to maybe spare the feelings of Nigerians about some of these policies?
Well, every government at some point will tell you what you want to hear to buy time. But in buying time, you also know that it's a limited currency. Because when you fool people, you can fool some of the people all of the time. You can fool some people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. So people are going to rebel and say, you have been saying this for God knows how many years. Look at even the issue of Dangote refinery. This was already commissioned around May 20th and didn't start production until around February 2024.
Right.
So several targets were missed. The Port Harcourt refinery, I just hope they can come out honestly and tell us realistically because this also has a lot to do with reducing the cost of living. If the fuel is accessible and affordable and is available, definitely to reduce ease of doing business. And when ease of doing business is, even though, because where we miss the point is we thought the dollarizing the economy is the only variable through which you can measure cost of living. No, it goes beyond that.
It's safe to say that these
supply and demand also comes in.
Yeah, exactly. It's safe to say that it always feels like, this is the beginning of the conversation. Every time we talk about these, endemic issues that, continue to, pass from one administration to another, and we have to talk about them in different dimensions and points of view. But gentlemen, thank you so much for the analysis. We are completely out of time. I would love to have continued, but as the case is, we always find avenues to talk a lot more about some of these national issues. Thank you most kindly for joining me tonight. I appreciate you for your insight.
Thank you.
Okay, and that is our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We do appreciate you for the time and for the company. Let's do this again. We'll be back next week, live and exclusive as always on Trust TV. Until then, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. From myself and the rest of the team, good night.